humanity. You don't have a bank account?
You guys, yeah, of course, everybody has a bank account. You need a bank account. What do you do with the fucking money that you get into the bank account is what sets you apart from everyone else who has a bank account.
Unbank yourself. You don't need a bank account.
Yeah, you do. If you want to receive money for the utility that you've provided, you'll need a fucking bank account. Obviously. That's how business works, sir.
You think the dollar is money, and that's where we disagree.
Money. That's what money means. It is a promise of utility that you can then take in exchange for actual utility. And it is the purpose of you taking this promise for utility and exchanging it into actual utility. You do this as effectively and as fast as possible because the promise of that utility itself diminishes over time. That's what's called inflation. And that's why inflation itself exists, because it's a race against time to take the money, put it back into circulation. Because if you don't do it,
that sounds like a stupid money system, and I don't want to live in that money system. Why do we still flow in economics? The whole world.
You evade it, and you play chess with it for as long as it exists. And even if it doesn't exist, you're the one who still wins because you're the one who earns the utility, not the promise of utility. I don't own promises of utility. I don't give a shit about the promise of utility. I give a shit about the actual utility. That is, say, a stock or a company or a company that I own.
Then I have a question. What if humans engineered something like the internet, but of money?
That is what money already is. It's just
what money should be,
smarter, which is what it should be, because if it is any more transparent than it currently is, then there will be infringements upon your freedom in ways that you can never imagine. You think you're anonymized in various places, you're not.
They killed him, but they arrested him. That every attempt at sovereign money has been knocked down by every possible government in the world. We finally engineered a way to where these motherfuckers can't stop it.
Okay. Well, you kind of sent it away with the adoption curve here. It's being real, because that's not the way that you adopt anyone into a particular
well then
thing.
But then look up really quick on Twitter anywhere if you can, or I'll find it for you. And I'll share it.
That's true.
Adoption curve of the internet X.
There we go. I'm being precise. If you want to get precise, we'll be precise. I'm 100% precise. I focus on the details.
Technically still called Twitter.
It is not. Okay, then Bitcoin is technically just a dollar with extra steps. That's the same.
The dollar is not money. The dollar is a currency. Gold is not a currency. Gold is money. Silver is not a currency.
So gold is actually commodity.
Commodity. Money.
Money is just a promise of utility, actually. So it's always been a promise of utility. It's the only thing that has varied over time is the definition of that utility, and that the utility in the past was, here is a piece of paper that guarantees you X amount of gold, and then to say that this gold is a promise of utility itself is something else that you yourself can exchange, which is then the value of the paper itself, the contract, right?
So the paper was a currency, not a unit of accounts, so it wasn't money. It's a currency.
It is always money. It's all the same shit.
That's what they make you believe. Now,
it's literally the same shit. There's no difference.
But
it's just extra steps with extra steps within extra steps. You own utility, not the promise of it, nor the representation of it. You own the utility, because everything else doesn't matter.
But you don't actually own it. Okay, then we get into the self-custody part of it.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, well, what happened in 1911 when we went to war? What's the first thing they take away from you? You got to turn in your goddamn gold. What happened in 1939? You got to turn in your goddamn gold. We don't own anything. We can't own anything. The government doesn't let us. We're slaves.
And like I said, you're trying to own a promise of utility, not the actual utility. If you're smart, you'd own the companies or own pieces of those companies that would then contribute to the war effort.
If I were smart, I would own the real estate or the commodity behind whatever the bank that lends that currency to the government takes and considers money.
Oh, you can have land as well. You can diversify your investment, of course. But again, it doesn't matter. The currency itself can go to shit. I don't care. It can be replaced with something else. It doesn't matter. The only issue is probably privacy. But then again, whatever your exchange for promise of utility is defined by you and whomever else is entering in agreement with you, because that's all that money is, and all that money in any configuration has ever been through all of history since the time that reading and writing itself was an actual thing. even before that.
I'm going to question the crap out of you. What was the first thing humans used as recorded history as money?
In recorded history, well, I can't recall very far back, but I think one of the most prevalent ones was cowrie shells, and of course, crafting various other kind of shells into things that are actually kind of difficult to replicate, and then we're basically using that difficulty as a means.
1,000 years before that, big fucking stones with.
This is actually the piece in history which is very relevant, because industry was then developed by other people to then basically make the process of making this currency more efficient, thereby then bankrupting everyone by devaluing that currency. This is actually where currency actually became currency the way that we see it today, where there's actually inflation seen behind something. So you can like go back in time and like use that as an example, but that's the example of how everything escalates to today, because you have this instance in history and it keeps echoing. Which is also why you're not supposed to own the fucking cowrie shells. You're supposed to own the utility of what the cowrie shells represent, not the shells themselves, because they're useless and they will become worthless one day, as all money will. All of it, even Bitcoin.
Wrong. Because one Bitcoin will always be one Bitcoin.
Maybe.
It doesn't matter what the value is.
Humans change.
But the Bitcoin network,
they will discard things. There will be a lot of things.
Can't change it. That's the whole point.
Yes, you can. A lot of if the majority network agrees that there's a change to be able to it, then the network itself will fit the change.
It's called a difficulty adjustment. Quantum computing, it will just trigger the difficulty adjustment. You can add 10 fucking exawatts.
I know, but that's the reason why it changes.
Every 10 minutes. Yeah, it's programmed.
It's never the same. And it shouldn't be. That's why I don't care. I won't hold value in this thing. I will hold value in utility. It's the only thing that matters. Own businesses or own fractions of those businesses and keep putting the promise of utility into that so that you own the actual utility itself, such that more utility can be generated. That's why there is inflation. That's how it was justified, so that you have an actual pressure to spend the shit. So it enters back into circulation.
That's the worst idea for money that humans could ever have invented.
It is absolutely not. It creates pressure and force for you to take the value and put it back in the fucking market. As it should be. As it fucking should be.
I want to own the unit of account of that company. I don't want to own the dollar value. Fuck the fucking dollar. I want to own the unit of account to which that company is priced in. Whatever the currency is, yuan, euro, whatever. It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. I want the unit of account. I want the fucking real estate. That house.
You get the real estate all you fucking want, but still again, you need something to buy that from someone or any kind of utility in exchange for that. Like say, for instance, you have like an exchange of assets where you say, hey, for instance, I own fucking, let's say, take it as an example, I own this many shares in Tesla over here. This is how much they're worth at the current price. Here you go. Here's my shit. Take it. Or you say, here's the potential for it to increase or whatever else. You can craft any agreement that you want, because everything boils down to agreements and their enforcement. Everything else is irrelevant.
I'll go through the list of problems in every single one of those scenarios. And the main problem will be the 3 to 7 day waiting time just to have a transaction go through whatever government agency is, or whatever banking agency is, or whatever stock.
Doesn't matter. You agreed upon a price. Doesn't matter. You agreed upon a price. The contract itself that you agree upon, the agreement itself that you'd have to sign, is the thing that secures all things. That's why we have what is called stock options. For instance.
Okay, so let's say $300 trillion in the stock market, right? That's that value. That's the value of the stock market, $300 trillion.
Yeah, but who cares?
$3 trillion. But hang on. $1.3 trillion is the value of the Bitcoin network. Now, why would I want to put my money into MicroStrategy or Tesla or to any one of these stocks if, for example, on the weekend, Iran attacks, knock on wood, Israel? What's the first thing that people are going to sell? The only thing that they can, they're going to sell Bitcoin, because they can. They can't sell anything on the stock market. They can do pre-orders on, or limit orders or whatever, or pre-market orders. But we need 24/7, unstoppable, very, very large amounts of liquidity. And this doesn't exist in the current financial system, in the fiat system. We've already
That's
fixed
actually
it.
incorrect. There are ways to do this, many different ways, none of which I feel comfortable
10,000
explaining.
Tesla shares
But
on a Saturday
there are
morning.
many ways that is possible because everything
Try
revolves
selling
around
10,000
agreements.
Tesla shares on a Saturday morning because there's a house for sale that you want to buy it. You cannot. You won't be able to. You never will be able to.
You would have to actually.
You can't. And then try selling GameStop
No,
when you're up.
you don't have to.
You can't.
You don't
They
have to
turn the
move
fucking
anything
system off.
anywhere. It stays in place, much like gold could. Everything is just a fractal of an agreement. It
So you
doesn't
can't get the
matter.
liquidity. There's no liquidity.
Haven't you figured it out? It's not about the
No
liquidity.
real liquidity.
It's not about the liquidity.
What's it about? If I want to liquidate assets to purchase another asset and there's no liquidity, how is it not about the liquidity?
The thing is,
it's all about the liquidity.
there is always an agreement somewhere that can be made if the value itself can be identified and agreed upon. That is literally the idea and essence of money. It is agreed
Not in the
upon.
stock market. That's the whole problem with the stock
There's
market.
a beautiful
This is Elon Musk.
thing. There's a beautiful thing in money. Actually, this is why there's a thing such as Jim Cramer. That's why there are always going to be retards who draw lines on a fucking chart even though they do nothing. They only do something because people believe in it, believe in the fact that it does, causing effectively what's like an effective mass hysteria, then saying, yes, these are definitely things that work. The only reason why anyone ever draws a line on a chart if they're oblivious or they're trying to figure out what all the retards are doing. That is literally the only reason, right? So they're sentiment engineers, so everything is based upon an actual agreement itself. A consensus. And what does Bitcoin base itself around? A fucking consensus. Everything is consensus, everything is agreement, and what works is what money is. That is consensus. Consensus is the worth. You have consensus of worth around utility that is rendered. That's currency. That's all that it is. It is just an agreement. And it's just consensus, either by two parties or more than two, multiple. Extrapolated into infinity, it changes nothing.
Should it
Actually,
be
if you
like
extrapolate it
this?
into infinity, the agreement is actually stronger because it couldn't be broken by any one person or individual entity. It stays solid based on the mass of basically everyone agreeing on the same thing.
Like Bitcoin, not like the US dollar.
Who gives a shit about the US dollar? Nobody gives a shit about the US dollar. You take it, you spend it for utility, you agree upon the utility being a certain thing, that's why the utility is a utility, and that's
But what
it.
if you don't?
The actual
what if
demand
you
of the
don't
market.
But what if you don't
And
want
then,
to
if
spend
you're
it?
actually influential, you then have that within a company, and you sell the company out the assets. It's just a different way. It's just a different way of money transfer. Everyone's transferring worth in ways that is very low and closed-minded. What you're describing makes no sense to me because it is not at the level at which people with a lot of buying power operate. It is just low level, actually. And it's only at that level, if you were to say, have someone who just wants liquidity. It's the lower level. The higher echelons are like a chessboard of agreements. And each chess piece is a company. Within each chess piece is the value of that company. Untouched, staying in its place. The only thing that shifts is the chess piece itself. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Only that. The consensus is what shapes the thing to be what it is. And it's as easy as it is, and as difficult as it has always ever been and will be.
Very philosophical.
Yeah, but it's reality. Like, I'm not going to lie about what reality is. I'm not going to imagine it something more complex than it actually is. I don't see it as anything more than that. I actually find that if you stand in your own way about your identification of what reality looks like, you end up fucking yourself. I don't want that for myself. It's not something, it's something that people value in the animals that we have as pets, that we eat, but not something that I value to want to have in myself or other people. So there you go.
I'm processing. I just don't want to interrupt.
Oh, good, okay. Yeah, I think I'll do this a lot.
What, Spaces? No, I do public.
No.
Spaces.
No, I do not just space. I mean, I do Spaces a lot as well. But general discussion around the concept of how things work, general research, study, and understanding of the world is very precious to me. Data is very precious to me. Information transmission and management systems are very valuable to me. So I'm here on X. It is a J system. It's a data storage and transmission system. It is money
your story.
as a platform.
I heard your story of how you got here, why you got here, when you, I think I was listening earlier on. I came around for the same reason. Kyle Rittenhouse got shot, and I was like, you guys, what the media was saying was literally the opposite of what was happening. And I was like, come on, there's got to be a place where we can get accurate, real-time information. And then the whole Twitter thing blew up. Elon bought Twitter, fucked everything up. That was crazy. Thank God, saved democracy or constitutional republic. Yeah, what a journey, man. What a fucking journey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't disagree on that. I always seek to understand, will always seek to understand. It's nice, right? And ironically enough, I wouldn't have understood any of these things if it weren't for the X platform itself, because it itself is also just an extension of utility. What do you think social capital is? It's even less. Social capital itself is even more complicated than currency itself, subject also to inflation and every other weakness that any currency will always have. Because every single currency has a weakness. And that it doesn't evolve. Oh, yes, it does.
What's the weakness?
The weakness is the same reason that keeps the dollar in power, and that is agreement that it has value. If there's no more agreement around the fact that it has value, nobody cares in keeping the computers powered up to make it the thing that then gives it value, then the whole thing disappears. And this will stay around for a very long time. It will stay around for a very long time. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Adrian, these are 2000 fucking arguments. Come on. El Salvador is mining Bitcoin with the volcano.
Yeah, that's good.
energy.
That's good. That's absolutely amazing. Bitcoin's going to be around for a long time. But I will change it to something else. Everything evolves. That's the idea of how money works. It has always evolved. It has always changed.
But we don't need.
Whatever you want to, I'll leave that in your hands. If you can turn that into something, and should the shoulds of the world
I'm not saying that you don't understand.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have it.
I'm not saying that you don't. I'm not saying that you don't.
There's also a reason why I don't have any fucking ETH.
Maybe because the Vitalik is a human and they can go after him, and because 97% of the Ethereum. Network is hosted by fucking Amazon. between proof of stake, which Ethereum uses, and proof of work, which Bitcoin uses. You know that, then you know that they're not.
Yeah, I know the difference. One of which is shit, and it's obviously not the one that's proof of work. Proof of work is great. It's nice. Proof of stake is horseshit. I hate it. That's why I don't like Ethereum. That's why I've gone out of Ethereum.
So do you know that Bitcoin is one of the only, but the biggest proof of work network, the one that takes
Yes.
the energy intensity to be able to secure the damn network?
Yes, that is why it's still valuable. That's why I am interested in it, but I will not be deluded about what it is and what it can do and what it is.
You don't have to be deluded. You can go and read the code. So you can't be deluded.
You don't need to read the code. You don't need to read the code. Nobody's going to fucking bother about the code. There's a minority of people that will bother about the code that may even ironically itself control quite a large amount of outcomes for the currency itself, which effectively it does become and should become. But that's about it. That is outside of your control once again. Right? You have to accept and understand places in which you yourself have no control and then work with what that is.
There's only 21 million. They can't make more. There's only 21 million. Every million
so
in the
cares?
world can't buy one.
Okay,
I know.
I'm struggling
I know,
to see what the point is.
You are now. I know. It was so fucking hard for me to understand too, but when it hit me like a ton of.
But what are you talking about? I understand exactly what the thing is, how it works, and how it has and everything else.
80 years of science and technology and monetary theory and history and everything into one big pill that hits you. It doesn't just come. You have to go after it, and you have to. I'm trying to.
What do you mean? I already know all this, my dude. I already know all this. So that's the reason why a lot of computers super cheap today. Can you tell me how a lot of NVIDIA GPUs can be rented for a very, very low price, respectively?
Everybody thought Ethereum mining was going to be the next thing, and
yes, everybody thought Ethereum mining was going to be the next thing. Everything was great, everything was beautiful, everybody got the GPUs, everybody put it into the chain, and then of course they moved from proof of work to proof of stake, and then all of a sudden these GPUs and everything became available, and now they're free somehow to the extent that you can use them. And they cost less, which is crazy to me.
You used to be able to mine Bitcoin on a normal CPU.
Yes,
you can't do that anymore because
that also applies. Yes, that also applies. It drives innovation forward, but what it drives mostly forward is data storage.
It's not data storage. I'm not storing data.
That's
I'm transferring value. Transferring value.
Yeah, but value storage is data storage actually. So value storage is nothing more than data storage. Ultimately, or energy storage, actually. That's what it will be. That's what everything will be condensed down to. It's just energy, and that's it. That's also what it is, effectively. Bitcoin, it's just energy storage, but in the fact that energy can't be claimed back from it, just the utility of how to craft it. Much like Bitcoin, much like the cowrie shells, except that the cowrie shells have a difficulty adjustment within them. That's the only difference. But it is still also crafted. The difficulty of how to craft it is the thing that gives it its value.
But
nothing that else can be claimed
its own value. your argument is the value of Bitcoin. You're giving 8 billion.
I'm not arguing against it. I'm just saying what it is, and I'm not going to disagree with basic facts of reality and how energy works, because then you're basically valuing Bitcoin higher than what it actually is. Right?
Or a store of value for 8 billion people around the world that can't be turned off or inflated by their government? Holy fuck, are you serious? That is the value.
You turn energy off, but I don't think
how can you turn it off? How can you turn energy off? You can't turn hydroelectricity off. You can't turn volcano power off. You can't turn a bunch of fucking geeks all around the world.
You'd be surprised.
EMP the world, and then we have a bigger problem than Bitcoin's network going down. You know what I mean?
I mean, if that doesn't work, like example of ultimate failure, I think when it comes to freedom, would be North Korea. They've successfully managed to turn everything off now.
They're gonna go after Elon Musk because he wants to do a space with the ex-president of the United States. We're already in dystopia, Adrian. We need to fucking escape their goddamn control, and we invent.
Yeah, but then if you think in terms of illusions, it's not gonna work, is it? I'm not saying that the belief in a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is delusional. I'm just saying that the aspects of how you justify that belief are delusional.
I don't need to believe it. I can verify it. I don't need to believe anyone. I don't need to trust anyone. I can verify the fucking code for myself. And every 10 minutes...
It's not about the code. It's not about the code. It's about the humans. Without the humans, there's nothing. Humans define utility. Without the utility, there is nothing. There's just dirt. That's it.
Humans
Just don't
look
figure
for
there's
the
something.
scarcest asset, the scarcest commodity, something that was easily recognizable, easily divisible, and easily portable. We decided as a race that was what we were going to use as our unit of account, not the
We
dollar.
decided that cowrie shells were also kind of cool. We decided to work with something else.
Salt, rocks.
So,
we've been through a lot, man. Paper currency.
Yeah, we also been through salt and pepper. So yeah, I know about this. I know the history of money. I know the history of whatever else has been identified as money. Anything that's scarce. But at the end of the day, the thing that tended to stay the most valuable is the stake in what creates utility.
What's most valuable is what's scarcest. There's only ever gonna be 21 million Bitcoin, and that's the
you can make an argument for that. And sure, it's beautiful. It's nice to have value in that. But the actual thing that you'd want to put, this is where nobody puts it into because it's difficult to understand where exactly the value is being created. You have to put the asset itself into the thing that manufactures the utility that gives value to that asset. That's what you want because that's the source of everything. That is God. Companies are
the
God.
Bitcoin network.
No. The companies are God. Fuck everything else. Value is defined and pegged to it, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can define an agreement in terms of value and trade with the currency. You can choose any currency that you want for this. Right now, you can have fiat, or you can have an agreement which basically says it's this price in Bitcoin. It doesn't fucking matter. Right? You can actually choose that for yourself. It depends on whatever agreement you want to draw out, because everything is just an agreement. Everything is just fucking contract. That's what money is. That's what everything is. That's what value is. Value is an agreement. Value is an agreement based on utility, and value and agreements are just a promise of how that utility is being rendered to whichever entity.
Now, what happens when one of these Wall Street companies decides that they're going to use Bitcoin as their unit of account, not the dollar?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's cool. It's cool if they use Bitcoin to value themselves. Fuck it, go for it. I'll invest in it still regardless. But it doesn't matter if the utility of that company itself beyond that point is nothing. Then I won't fucking invest in it because I know it's a fucking failure.
The whole utility of the company is billions and billions of dollars going into Bitcoin, and them holding that and saying that they're never going to sell it.
That's not utility to me. That's not utility.
Value.
Utility is making things like
utility.
Utility is making things like rockets, satellites, fucking infrastructure for what essentially supports the creation of these things. Internet.
Utility is
information management systems like this place. People who work at those places who manufacture, say, code to make sure that the place itself works properly. Invest in that because it will literally control your fucking life, which it does already.
But I don't want to invest in something that's going to give me returns in a failing currency. I want to invest in something that's
not going to give you returns of failing currency. It only gives you returns if that is something that you agree upon how to render. You can also just basically trade with the asset itself, not the rendering of what that asset could be into a different asset. You can use that asset itself. It's just agreements, my man. Your contract to say, like, hey, for instance, I have a fuck ton of shares that are under this fucking company over here. Let's not transfer those shares because that's not going to fucking work. I'm going to sell you the fucking company.
It's still going to be valued in dollars, not in Bitcoin.
Who gives a shit what it's valued in?
What matters is that thing that you're going to value it in is losing its purchasing power. It's losing the value of what it's worth.
It's not.
What do you mean?
It doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter for anything. You can agree on saying, like, for instance, I will give you, actually, you can cut dollars out of the whole process entirely. You can use that as a decision-making factor for sure, but you can cut that out entirely. You could say, hey, this piece of land here at this point in time is worth $3 million. That's like probably X amount of Tesla shares. Here's your Tesla shares. Give me your land. Finished.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
I'll sell you the fucking company that owns those Tesla shares instead. There was no
shares.
transfer itself except for the ownership of the company itself, which is much better. You get it all wrong. Fuck the money. At the utility is what you want to trade. Trade utility. Fuck everything else. The exchange of utility or rendering of a service is then where the currency comes in for like smaller things, such as, say, for instance,
why do you own a house?
hey, Mac, could I have a cup of coffee? Here's some Doge for your cup of coffee. I take the Doge, I instantly fucking spend it on something.
Why do you own a house? If you do own a house, why do you own
So a fucking roof over my head.
Also,
The utility of that house is a roof over my head. What do I have to maintain this thing with? Probably with some materials that I buy with what? Right, currency. I have to liquidate something for like a currency to make that happen. Or even better still, if you have an economy that's a little bit more, advanced, then you can even say, here's some share in return or whatever. It doesn't matter. It just does not matter. Oh, hey, hang on a second. I have an issue where, I need to pay, what is it, $50,000 for a surgery that I need that will save my fucking life. Where do I have that money stored? Not on a fucking bank account, in stocks.
What if your surgery's
For
on a
instance, or something
Saturday
else.
and you can't liquidate your stocks on the Saturday?
You don't need to.
Pay the
That's why you have the agreements for. You don't need to. That's why you have the agreement. That's why you have the agreements for.
I know, but not everyone's in a fortunate enough country to have that. But anyways, I see your point.
That is the issue, and that is the only problem that needs solving.
I just ask that you approach the next couple of years with an open mind, because a lot of shit.
But dude, I am the open mind. You don't understand. I see it. I see it. There is no issue. I consider all points of perspective in that one regard. That is, what does reality look like? What is reality defined by? How do you place yourself within it, and how does reality place you within what you want to be placed in?
The NPCs are fun.
There is no NPCs, my friend. They're all just players. They're all just characters, neither of which are aware of the other, all of which are main, just parts of the stories that you can't understand.
Have you ever
Technically
done?
speaking,
Have you ever
they're all
done?
just NPCs.
Have you ever done a religious dose of mushrooms, a good 4 grams on an empty stomach?
I don't need to.
Well, I highly recommend it.
Potentially I will one day, but I have to consider the potential, issues that might cause.
It helps.
Say, for instance, there are people that have
do-
underlying issues of schizophrenia that have never been identified before, that then get activated,
Very
and
aware.
then some people have like some really bad
Very,
long-lasting
very
issues right after
very
that. So one has to consider that.
But it
Right.
is a
So
very,
I myself,
very
unless
easy-
I'm 100% certain of my decision, will not need to take such action.
Okay.
Although I think, like, say, potentially taking some ayahuasca would be kind of cool.
Things like Texas, well, see, you don't need that, because ayahuasca is the spiritual part. You just need the reality part. Like, get connected with Mother Nature and the oneness of everything, and then you can grow to ayahuasca.
I've done this many times. I know of what you speak. I know of what you speak more than you can imagine. Seeing what?
Exactly.
There's no seeing. There's only perceiving.
Please do mushrooms, Adrian. I encourage it.
You don't understand. You see nothing. You only perceive.
There you go. Okay.
There is nothing.
All right, I misspoke. Pardon my French.
You don't see the fucking mushroom highways. You perceive them because your brain is like a fucking antenna, and the range of how that antenna now receives signals has been wildly expanded to receive things that you otherwise would not have received. Look, I know how the science of it all works. The beauty in that is to literally that's the idea of the open mind. It's the literal manifestation of the mind opening. And you don't necessarily need psychedelics to accomplish this. You must simply just be aware of what is around you. That is its own connection, because you already are connected to everything. You're just not aware of it. That is the only issue. I think that's the issue with everyone. There's a low sense of awareness. That's why everything is going to shit. I would say I have a very high
because
sense
of
of
our
awareness.
diets and because of our vaccines since like the 40s and 50s.
That's besides the point, of course. I think that kind of plays into awareness, because you're not aware of certain things. You have not bothered to educate yourself
Aluminum
on certain
buildup in the
things, then of course you're
pineal
fucking yourself, right? It's literally how it works out.
Aluminum buildup in the pineal gland.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Slowly but
Fucking
surely,
garbage that's in
thank
like in
God
tap
for
water, and
that.
why nobody does reverse osmosis and all this blah 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 blah. I know
Even
about
if
all
a
this.
lot of the information.
And the aluminium itself also comes from the fucking tap water that everyone encourages you to drink, because it's fucking aluminium flocculation that is used as a treatment. I know about all this. Right, this is also the thing that causes increased rates of dementia, which is also interesting because it kind of tends to parallel out to reality to what's being experienced at the moment. And of course, all this weird stuff, the dietary things, like say this weird trend that everybody drinks fucking Diet Coke, which contains a fucking artificial sweetener called saccharin, which is also known as ASK, which is the thing that actually causes fucking cancer. Anyways, look, I know of all this stuff, right? I know of all this. Don't worry, I'm very, very aware. I'm more aware of such things than you can imagine.
Okay,
but you're probing me right now, and you're discovering it. So
I'm no.
much to the entertainment of everyone else, and why so many people are listening.
I'm not probing. I just don't know you, and we're just.
Yes, you are.
No, I would never do.
No, you are probing.
I would never probe anyone. I only want answers.
Yes, you are. It's a good thing. My dude, why are you interpreting the probing of the brain and the understanding of how the brain works as something that is bad? We're just probing one another right now. That is the concept of chess with game.
Probe is
in the
very,
head.
very alien. Probe.
What's what's the problem with the probe? Why does everybody have such a negative sentiment about probing each other's brains in a figurative manner? I don't understand. What's the issue with that? There's a negative association with the probe because they think it's like a thing that goes up your ass, but it really is not.
Yeah, it's the negative intonation that it carries. I guess you're probing me. I guess it's just.
Nobody fucking cares. Why would you like listen to a movie or some fucking interpretation of what an alien is? Apparently, I'd say that you have, say, taken, a hero's dose of psilocybin, I assume, right? Given that you are encouraging me to do the same, I assume that this is something that you have done. You will have probably spoken to, or have perceived at least, these weird figures that you tend to universally meet when you're on such a trip.
Nope, never did enough.
Did you? Oh, you never did a hero's
Nope,
dip?
just enough
You missed out on that one.
Just enough to see the vibrations, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, there you are."
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I guess you didn't talk to the people at Probia.
No, the lizard people can stay where they are. I'm okay with them.
Bro, you think that the fucking DMT entities are lizard people?
Look, man, I'm raised from I'm from a country where
That's
it's
a
weird,
unique
like
take.
frog
Look, I think that's really cool. I wanted to know more of that take.
They say it's what we get when, like, a pump of that shit when we die, but like there's
Wow, so am I. Look, literally, you're talking to a guy who's functioning off of 1 hour of sleep. Nothing makes sense here, okay?
I know.
At the very end of the day, the end game is to have fun.
To it forever. That's not a negative thing. It's a really negative thing if you allow it to be.
Just be good to the other people in your goddamn journey.
You feel. Yellow light for no reason, even though they could have crossed a long time ago. Yes, I know. Many such cases.
Okay, now last thing
You're
before
forced to be break behind.
last thing before I go to bed. Why is there a fucking chain on the foot of the Statue of Liberty? And why does that not look like a man? And why is it a Satanist cult?
There are a lot of answers to that question, none of which I would want to air.
I understand. Good night, goodbye, and stay safe. No, be good to yourself and stay around, you guys. The journey is the destination. It's a fun ride.
I know, very aware.
Goodbye, Elon.
Oh my god. Wait a minute. That was the punchline. The punchline was Elon. Oh motherfucker. Wait, does this guy legitimately think that he just spoke to Elon? Oh fuck.
Wow.
I was just Okay, Wiggle, let's be honest. If I was explaining to you the things I was explaining to you and the way that I was explaining them to you right now, the way that we were kind of like seeing the show play out, would you yourself believe that you're actually talking to Elon?
No.
No? What would give it away?
Well, the fact that Elon has to run.
No, but logically, I mean, that's besides the point. No, in terms of knowledge, though, like play devil's advocate in the favor of the guy here, right? Aside from the sped up speech, you would almost assume that there is some similarity there in that sense, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to the discussion point.
Yeah, 100%.
There we go. That is, I think, the only convincing factor that many people kind of hinge on, because who the fuck would talk about these kinds of things out of random? This is like out of pocket. There was no way that I was planning to discuss this, but I am fucking glad. I love it when people probe me on this kind of stuff, because it's something I always think about and I always want to talk about, because this is a beautiful thing. I love it when people probe my brain, because that is the only way that you can truly shine. You're like an endless well of potential. All that is needed is for you to be probed. It sounds wrong. I grant it sounds wrong. I know it does. Talking about getting probed sounds wrong. I think everybody wants to get probed in a certain way if they really know what I mean. But I mean, at the end of the day, Look, it's just you want to get prompted. Don't you probe the AI when you talk to it? Don't you like ask it questions? Are you not intrigued by this thing that's like a lot of data? Are you not intrigued by what governs it? In reality, you're not prompting the AI to understand its data. You're prompting it to understand its governance. As you do with playing any game with anyone. You want to understand the governance.
You're probing AI.
God, I hope fucking somebody recorded this space, because this was one hell of a good conversation. My God. I actually found that was a really nice conversation. I felt that was intellectually enriching to me.
It was great.
For sure it is. Probably also very entertaining for other people to observe and imagine. Always about the entertainment factor, it seems. Ew, nice. I get to timeline settings? Aww, I love that. Completely forgot how to do that. Should you? Bethany, you got any words? Yo, Bethany. Is my mic still working, or is it out there?
Yeah, it works. I think she's mute.
I'm giving you 30 seconds here at the time policy. Mic check, mic check.
Yeah.
Seems to be nothing, huh?
Crickets.
Rather unfortunate. Okay. There you go. I didn't even know where to let them up. They were not even fucking following me. Okay, what else? Let's see. I'm feeling rather risk-take-ish today. Did I just turn into the fucking the omni-liberal of cryptocurrency discussions? That was wild. Just realized what they did there after the fact. What? While it was happening. For sure. Okay. What else do we have? What are we gonna potentially talk about? Oh, there's another earthquake alert.
In LA.
Yeah, guess Lizzo has landed again.
4.5.
Yeah, definitely her. Confirmed. Talk about probing, Josh. Here, Josh.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Adrian. Nobody knows more about probing than me, believe me. I've been probed with so many objects, it's unbelievable. Actually, last week, I was probed with Diet Coke. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that. Can't you put a little bit more raspiness in it?
Needs to be a little bit more
Right,
like
this
this.
is
Maybe a more raspiness in the voice.
You're looking for this version of Trump, right?
There you go.
We
Absolutely.
love Diet Coke. We love it so much.
There you go. See, it sounds much better.
Nobody
We'll wrap it
loves
up. It's
colonoscopies
character.
more than me, believe me.
Why do you like colonoscopies?
Because you get probed, okay? You get big league probed.
Just wait until you hear about Neuralink.
Well, the Neuralink's really fantastic. I've heard so many great things about it.
There's so many great things. Very nice. I like the character here. This is working out very well for you.
The raspy.
The
car keys.
Yeah, that's great.
Sometimes though his
That is
voice,
actually amazing.
it changes though because when he's speaking a lot, his voice does get raspy. But when he's got a fresh voice,
Yeah.
there's no raspiness, so it alternates.
Sure.
It's a frog in his throat.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's when you speak a lot over like extended periods of time that you kind of like tend to deteriorate in terms of voice. Like your vocal cords have a bit of an issue. Like even with me, like if I speak for a very long period of time, like you'll start to realize I'm like that, you know.
Oh yeah, it happens.
You probably like heard me at the end of like a long 1 day session. Like you sit down, and you're like, oh, you know how it feels a little bit there, one way or another.
No, I get it. Sometimes it sounds like I've been smoking cigarettes or something, and I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Never.
What do you normally sound like?
What do I normally sound? You don't think I sound like this?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just asking, is there like a default mode?
I do
Which
have a
is-
default. You know, I have many variations. There's this variation, of course. There's the raspier variation. There's the high-pitched variation. You know, that one's really, that's my favorite one because it's a lot easier going high than low.
Hmm.
And then there's this version. This is the default.
Oh, yeah.
The default setting.
The default say, yeah, there you go. You still sound like yourself.
Yeah, now I'm on default.
Pretty cool. Nice. You have to kind of actually get into it, eh?
Well, you have to make the facial expressions too while you're doing it, even if no one can see your face.
Interesting.
Like with Trump, he squints a lot when he talks. Like he's always ready to do battle. Oh, if that makes sense. Like anytime he's going
Yeah, of
to like
course.
an interview, he's ready to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his lips are like ready to suck off the chrome off the bumper.
That's right.
What in the actual fuck? I'm sorry. What?
Well, there's always so tight that he wants, like, it almost seems like, yeah, the chrome of the bumper.
Bro, holy shit, that sounds like a fucking thing from Ferris Bueller's Day Off where he says that my dad's fucking ass is so... Same energy. Day laughter, but I'm like dated like that. I've watched a lot of weird movies in my, like, when I was growing up. A lot of 80s movies, actually. That explains that humor.
You ever seen
I fucking
Arthur?
hated modern movies. I love old movies. They're so good.
You ever seen Arthur? 80s classic 80s movie.
Oh, that one? No, I haven't seen that one, unfortunately. I have an oddly specific one. I've seen like I've seen a few of the classics, of course, that were very popular at the time. One that's very niche is like private investigator, fucking like, played by Tom Selleck
Pink Panther.
and Magnum. No, that series, like multiple seasons of that series.
Yeah,
Magnum PI.
that's old.
That is old as fuck. Nuns don't work on site. That's where that meme is from. I was laughing even harder when I saw that meme because I realized where it was from. The clip. There's so many moments in that series that could be a meme today. Actually, now that I think about it, there's a lot of meme material in there. Speaking of, there's no fucking breaking news. Except Lizzo landing, but sure. And for some reason, my the spaces that I'm holding right now are quite entertaining. We have like record levels of listeners in here. It's crazy. Almost 600. I had like 600 at some point. We're like at the peak because I'm back. We listen. We talk. We very good. Very nice. Everything happened. And I'm gonna take a little bathroom break. Give me a couple seconds.
All right.
He's taking a pee-pee, okay?
So you got a probe?
I'm just gonna.
Oh, we're gonna do it.
What?
He's making a big league number 2.
100%. If it's a number 2, what is a number 1?
I would like a number 1 with a side of French fries and a Diet Coke.
Imagine like fucking ordering this shit at McDonald's with that exact voice. Yeah, Josh, I'm just saying, like, you could legit just fucking record yourself going to like a drive-through, ordering in exactly that voice, a particular order, and then just appearing there and posting that on X and YouTube or else. Very good short-form content material for that, for sure.
I'm going to do that maybe as early as tonight.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I'd like a number.
Just don't do it close to a place that you frequent, otherwise, no bueno.
Well, they know me. They know me at the drive-thrus.
Oh yeah, cool. Exactly, it's actually more of a case why I shouldn't be.
In fact, I ordered as Joe Biden just 2 days ago at Dairy Queen.
Wonderful. What about the guy who's like calling for Joe Biden? Joe Biden, where's Joe Biden? That Joe Biden? Joe Biden, wake up. Yeah, that one.
Wakey, wakey.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic. Bit of the COVID-19 thing. I was actually kind of locked in at a construction site, literally. A beautiful wall made out of rocks. Big, beautiful rocks. It's the funniest thing. I could actually always say that. And whenever I'm next to like that infrastructure, I always tell everyone it's a big, beautiful wall. And everybody, like, on the inside of their brain somehow struggles with how to receive that info. Because, like, they know what it's a reference to, but they don't know if you're actually being serious about that. And there is a big, beautiful wall. So you kind of have a moment there. And you don't know whether to laugh, whether to be offended, or neither of those things, given that you're actually standing next to the wall of which I speak. And you can't disagree that it's big, beautiful, and a wall.
It's a big, beautiful wall made of big, beautiful rocks.
Just saying. Does that qualify as a good Trumpish, kind of like characterization of my info?
Very sad for our country. I give it actually. I give it a C plus.
Sorry, I'm only thinking C++. I'm just kidding. Terrible nerd joke, I must say, but it's what it is. Oh boy, I see a lot of people are jumping in right now, but you've missed one hell. You guys hear me? It's gonna invite a bunch of people up. Yeah, did you actually hear that conversation that I had about monetary systems?
No, I didn't. I was at the gym.
Fuck, you missed out, man. Wiggle, tell him you fucking missed out.
Yeah, missed out. That's not really telling me what it was about.
I hope that like somebody recorded it because the space is unrecorded, and that was like full on me entering a flow state of a guy who's like debating me on Bitcoin and its value and how like basically money and utility itself and the promise thereof actually functions, which is like so great to discuss.
Yeah, it was epic.
Yeah, so give me the
Literally, his punchline was ending it with "Okay, Elon."
who is this guy? Yeah.
I don't know, just definitely not disappointed. Definitely not disappointed. I was very impressed. It was a very nice conversation. There was a little bit of something there somewhere, but
Alright. By the way,
Towards
to make like a double
fuck this.
push there.
Is, of course, who doesn't want to be digital Jesus? I swear, you know? Does your ability to understand how algorithms work equate to walking on water? I wonder. I would definitely say so, but that's a personal fucking bias. Also, FYI, that would it doesn't get lit up. Personal policy. Okay, here you are. All standards apply.
I hate the dog shit music they play at gyms. It's fucked so bad.
What is it? What is it? Is it like this? What? Actually, no. What is it? What is it?
Some fucking Katy Perry shit. I'm like, why the fuck is this at the gym? Why are you playing this?
Why would you exercise to that shit?
I don't know.
Here's the thing. You need the fucking Sigma male grind song where you turn off your brain and you just exercise. That's all you need.
Sigma grind set.
Look, the music sounds simple, basic, probably a little bit retarded, but that's exactly the type of energy that you need to brutally enhance yourself. No? I mean, you're going to a place to literally destroy your muscles so that they can be built back better. There's literally no logic behind this other than to do this for the purposes of improving yourself, but being brutish in order to attain that. So turn your brain off and get angry.
Okay, play some.
Such quite a liberating feeling.
Do music is what you're
Yes. Except I probably want to be careful with which one exactly you listen to because there's literally pentagrams like coded to the songs themselves.
Yeah, I actually tried to work
The
out
upside down
with,
ones, not the seal of Solomon, but the upside down version of that, which is then the pentagrams. Ruins, bro.
I actually tried to work out with to do music once. I figured out that it doesn't work. It's not the music suited for the gym.
It needs to be repetitive, rhythmic, in a way that you can match the rhythm. If it's too diverse, it's not going to work out. That's why the funk music kind of works in a sense, right? Because it's very basic. It makes you turn your brain off, makes you feel the beat more than it actually does anything else. It's not designed to like kind of just get you along to something, and that's precisely what you want when you're exercising, because that's how you get there, no? Man, what a fucking interesting idea. But what place? If time I was at, I only slept like 1 hour. I'm honestly fascinated by the fact I'm able to function the way I am. Actually, I slept and I woke up, and it felt like that 1 hour of sleep was the best hour of sleep that I've had in comparison to the 8 hours that made my brain hurt. That was crazy. Like, how does that work? Is that just like you enter this beautiful deep sleep that's the sleep that you actually need for your body when you're completely fucking beat down? Like, is that the reason why I feel so good? I assume that is the case, but
sleep schedule where they only sleep like 2 or 3 hours And those people actually get better sleep than people that actually sleep for like 6 hours, 7 hours. Because the only sleep they get is like the REM sleep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I kind of do an adaptation of that without me actually being aware of it. So I just basically work until I'm completely dead. Like, there's nothing I want to do. Like, go to bed. That's actually the state in which I sleep
If you're tired,
the best.
that is my preferred sleep method too. Tire the fuck out, where you're barely struggling to keep your eyes open, and then you go to sleep. You'll be refreshed as fuck when you wake up.
Absolutely, yeah. You kind of like have
Okay, this has
somewhat of an
been
instinct to
Elon
sleep a
Musk
little
movie.
longer,
It's 8,
but if you
12,
actually then
24.
stay awake,
Enjoy.
bro, you're gonna fucking feel epic.
This is the Elon Musk movie. It's 8, 12, 24. Hope you enjoyed.
I wonder how long that's actually sustainable throughout age. We'll have to